Deep darkness descends on the people of Israel, descends even on those who didn't know who he was, perhaps the soldiers, perhaps Pilate, getting a glimpse of who this Jesus character was. The darkness covered all, in a sense. Pilate had to war with himself because of crucifying what he believed to be an innocent man, knuckling under those who were under his authority, the chief priests. And yet, this is what Jesus and what Scriptures had foretold. This was the necessary element of the life and mission of Christ. His disciples left. A few stayed. A few women. We have Nicodemus once again coming to the fore. Happened to believe he was a Jesus supporter after their meeting in the garden. Joseph of Arimathea, a little bit shy, not sure what to think, what to believe, not to stand up for what he believed in front of the crowds. Jesus was tended to carefully and lovingly. 75 pounds of perfume spread at Jesus' feet, not even a week before that, by Mary as they were having dinner. And now, the proper burial spices to keep his body preserved and put in the tomb. The darkest of days. Sometimes we feel like we're in the darkest of days. Sometimes we don't know left from right, right from wrong. The gray is even grayer. Black and white no longer exist. We make guesses. We second guess ourselves at some of our decisions we make. Is it the right one? Is it benefiting whom? Is myself serving in this respect? We have a political system which is fair, which is good, but seems like a circus now. We want people to be strong and competent leaders. We want people to lead us in a spirit of truth, at least, and justice. We want leaders who will look out for the best of all of us. We want people to govern us. And we want to be part of a system that works, a community that cares, not only in this church, but in the community at large, that we look out for one another, that we care for those who are very different than ourselves. We care for those who can't care for themselves in order to build relationships that may be long-lasting, but may be fleeting. And yet, we make the steps to brighten our worlds as much as we can. We follow the way of Christ. We're following him now into his death. It's a dark time. It's a snowy time. And nonetheless, this is where we're at, following Christ to his grave as one of those who believes in his Spirit, believes in his mission, believes in who he stood for, and what he stood for, and whose he was, and who he was. And we hope in our dark times that the light of Christ will prevail even for a fleeting moment, even for a brief flicker in our darkness. This is the time that we have set aside. The Holy Week, the mandate to serve, the cross upon which Jesus was hung, and the silence between now and the resurrection. The seeming directionlessness of this moment. The real waiting. The real pondering. The real hope buried somewhere deep within us, yearning to get out and celebrate. And yet, this is the time we spend. with Jesus on the cross, in the bleakness, hoping for light. Amen.